Hello, we are Dan and Dan from DDF Media. We're about to do a segment on Ancoder News. We are here today to talk about how our production, The Life Hack, gathered such a vast and incredible audience, and we're going to explain how we did that, what we used.
It was really an incredible feat to gather such a large target audience, but it's because we really had to think about exactly what our target audience would be looking for in our production.
Yeah, so we started off, our main character, he is a gamer. That's evident from the start. So if the main character's a gamer, then it generally says the film's about gaming.
Yeah, and that was quite easy to do, because when you've got three gamers creating a film like this, directing and producing all the storyline, that sort of stuff, it's very easy to get that sort of character right, because the character is just like the producers.
See, within the film, we incorporated a good list of games. In fact, I've got the list here. We've got Pac-Man. Everyone knows Pac-Man. It's classic, it's retro, people still play it.
Everyone knows it, like everyone.
We've got Skyrim. It's a very big game. It's not as well known, but I think it's personally one of my favourites.
It's one of the biggest ones of the modern world, I'd say.
Yeah. We've got Mario, yet again classic, retro, big game. And GTA, so Grand Theft Auto, for those who don't know.
Like GTA 5, when that came out, that was a huge game that everyone was playing. And like the fact that if you actually watch the opening sequence of this film, it kind of goes back from GTA, back through all this stuff to Mario, Skyrim, and then Pac-Man. So it's almost like he's going back through the eras of games, and then he's starting his journey right where the opening sequence ends, almost as if he's back at the start of this whole journey of the development of games.
There are many references throughout the films to all like little jokes in the game world. You might even know them as Easter eggs.
Yes.
The joke in itself. So we've got MLG Gaming, Doritos, popular gaming snack.
Doritos, Mountain Dew, yeah. That's something that every gamer kind of knows, that Mountain Dew Doritos reference.
So you've got Get Wrecked, which is a popular phrase. Phase Snow, which was actually your idea. You pulled that out a bit.
Anyone who knows like all these popular gaming teams, they're going to know FaZe. And FaZe has a player called Rain. Apparently they have two, I don't know about that. They have a player called Rain, and obviously we can't use that, so we decided to use the joke of being Phase Snow in the game.
So other little jokes, keeping the computer itself in the fridge, that's keeping it cool.
Always that joke about, you want to keep your PC at what, like minus 20 degrees.
So
that's completely...
not really quite true, is it?
No.
In general, there's a lot of comedy based directly towards gamers throughout the film, which makes it attracts gamers, which is our target audience.
Did you know, little fun fact, is that PCs only really have to be kept as cool as about 70 degrees to actually be running perfectly functionally.
It's quite hot there, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing, people think they need to keep them really cool. They can run at between 70 to 80 degrees and they'll be completely fine.
Okay, well, there's a good fact for everyone out there. The last point I'm going to make, and I say the last point because it's the end of the film. So it ends on a tracking pan shot. So you may have noticed whenever you start the campaign in a film, you follow the brief...
In a film? Campaign in a game?
Yeah. Okay. So when you start the campaign in a game, you often find that, well, you have the little backstory of the main character. The character stops, and the last shot goes around the back of the character, and then you start the game, often in third person. So that's the effect that we've intentionally created for our film.
So like, one of the examples of this is a new game, or not new, but recently new, called Dynasty Warriors 8, where you actually start, I think it's the campaign, you start and you're kind of walking forwards, and then the camera kind of zooms in onto your character, and then you start playing the game immediately, and it's a really fluid transition. So when I came up with this idea of using this shot, I wanted to create something kind of like that.
Okay, did it work?
Sort of, I mean it wasn't quite as fluent, but it still worked quite well.
We got the idea across, it makes sense.
Yeah. So then another thing is that you've actually got two relatable gaming setups in this film. So you've got a triple monitor big setup with all the newest tech, that sort of stuff, and it's all got LEDs around it. It's really nice and fancy oak wood desk.
It's shiny.
Yeah. And then you also got just a small little desk with one monitor on it, and it kind of gives a contrast of every sort of gamer's gaming setup. Because you either got those really big, nice, fancy ones, or you've got just a desk with a computer on it.
That also links back to where we said we've got different eras of gaming. So a couple of years ago, maybe you would have had one monitor, and that you'd a gamer. So
I'd say probably 5-6 years ago.
Yes, it's not too long ago, but even still, today we've got the large setup, which is something you have.
Yeah.
You've got 3 screens, big monitors.
Right. So that was actually quite a successful use of an idea there.
About editing, you've got
I've got
to write.
a
say
lot to talk
editing.
about this.
Yeah.
So, firstly, a lot of gamers you might notice like to go on channels such as No Copyright Sounds, Monster Cat, Proximity, all these big YouTube music channels, and they always incorporate really nice audio reactors into it. So when I was creating the video for this and I was editing it to the music, I thought for a couple of scenes there might be a good idea to put an audio reactor in there, such as the Pac-Man scene where you want it to be as actiony as possible. That would be a good place, and also where it gives the credit to the music, because then you can see a bit more editing as to the music and how the waveforms work. But then the other thing is, actually with the music itself, I think basically I spent a lot of time trying to learn FL Studio, the music production program. And basically I started work on a track and I realised it would fit this production perfectly. So it's called Paradise, hopefully it's going to be out sometime soon. And basically it kind of has a few glitchy sounds in it, it's got a few kind of gamey sort of sounds in it, so I thought it would fit really well to this production. And it was also really happy, which actually, when we recut the film, it actually really fit the tone of the film.
It's also a good pace as well.
Yeah,
The pace is just
I think
right.
it worked pretty much perfectly.
Yeah.
We did use a song by Jim Joseph before, and that was really nice, but I just think this new track works better.
It's almost easier to listen to as well.
Yeah.
The one by Jim Joseph was...
It was overly edited.
It was quite busy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to hear and watch at the same time.
It was kind of overly changed.
Yeah.
Like it was made too electronic.
Yeah.
And then also you got a lot of animation in this film, so there's lots of detailed graphics, which gamers obviously like, stereotypically. You've got all these animations of him going through the screens, all this sort of stuff. It makes it feel a little bit more realistic than if we were trying to do any sorts of effects using actual in real life effects. And it all just kind of looks very nice. It brings it together fluently and makes it look more like a game. For example, you've got your GUI across the screen, your game user interface, and that kind of makes it feel like it actually is a game. So that kind of, it does really kind of fit the tone, and gamers will be interested in seeing all these sorts of animations. They will relate to them, they'll recognise them.
Yeah.
So for example, you got a box with the Ancoda logo on it, the company who kind of produced this film along with us.
Yeah, they're very, very
Yeah. So we had like an Ancoda box rather than a Mario question mark box. That's something that people are going to recognise. But then also you got a lot of different shot types in this. It's not just the editing. A lot of the cinematography. We tried to include a lot of shot types, and that kind of makes it feel more immersive for the gamer. Like they're there. Like immersion, I think, is the biggest new thing in gaming. Like you've got your Oculus Rift now, your HTC Vive, your Samsung Gear, all these VR headsets.
It's all about how really interactive and how much part of the game you can be now.
Yeah, because anyone who doesn't know what VR is, it's virtual reality, and that's basically you put on this headset and you can't see anything other than this game that you're playing or whatever you're using it for. But then OSIX are also making 3D headphones that actually make it sound like you're actually in the environment. And I think that's going to be another really, really clever thing.
I almost think that would be better than the 3D goggles. That kind of
yeah,
idea.
so the idea of having immersion is going to be really, really key for attracting a target audience. So using as many different shot types as possible to make it feel like you're part of the game is exactly how you need to go about this. So
Yeah.
I think we hit that nail on the head there.
Yeah, we've got lots and lots of different types of shots. And
Yeah.
really, there's no real part of the film where there's a long shot which is more than, would say, 5 seconds long. I mean, there's one at the end which is on the main character's face, but that's the idea of it. The speed has slowed down. He's trapped, so he's feeling a bit sad. But other than that, it's one shot to the next shot to the next shot. So it's actually like a game. There's something, it keeps changing.
It's like
there's
in a
something
game.
different.
For example, there's a lot of cutscenes in the area with the fridge. So originally, the problem with this was that we didn't have any cutaways, and we needed to speed up the length of our opening sequence. But when he's first opening the fridge, you see he kind of cuts between different things. And when you think about games, they kind of have that moment where you go to, I don't know, drink something, and it'll speed it up, so you're suddenly doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like you take your drink out, you pull it.
Yeah, it doesn't
take
take
the lid
time.
off your drink. It's just like,
It's like in Skyrim where, you know, fighting a dragon, but you want to regain health and you eat 800 cabbages.
You can eat 100 cabbages and it doesn't take any time at all.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
So that was kind of the way that we decided we wanted to portray that. So that is also one other way in which the film feels like a game, which is exactly the way to attract our audience.
Yeah.
We figured out the way to attract our audience audience. I can't say that right.
Audience.
The way to actually correctly attract our audience is to actually make the film feel like a game, and I think we did that quite well.
Yeah, we didn't want to make it look like a game, but we wanted to make it look similar to a game.
Yeah, we wanted it to have that exact sort of feel to it.
Otherwise, we might as well have just made a game of games.
So then there was this kind of gaming style title, so 8-bit kind of gaming themed titles. So we also had animations on them to actually make it all fluid and flow well, and it all just looked nicer than just having the titles pop up. And having these titles as part of the film just kind of made them feel more interactive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't just seem to be there on the screen. They come in some way, or
you
they're
want to
behind
read
something.
them.
Yeah, they're part of it. They're not just.
They're part of the production. They're not just telling you what it is what I think you're
Which I
about
think
to
is
say.
different from a game, because a lot of games you do the campaign, and then
I
at the end
never
you just
look at the titles.
you just get a list of titles. You get the option to skip it. It'd be much more interesting if they introduced the game and said they gave a couple of the main titles here. It slides on from one side, comes to another. But that'd be much more interesting. So that's what we've done.
So we feel like actually making the titles feel like part of the experience actually kind of adds to the experience of watching it.
Yeah.
And you actually want to see what we've done with the titles, because they are creative ways of putting them in. We've used motion graphic. We've actually gone titles behind a filmed person in a real action scene. So there's a bit where Nathaniel, who plays Craig, he's actually in the scenery where he shoots Fran, who plays just a random girl. He's actually in that scene. It's not green screen, but we managed to get the title to go behind him, which actually looks really nice. And so actually being able to see what we've done with the titles, I think nowadays gamers are becoming very interested in exactly how well you can produce a graphic. So trying to spot the different ways we've done this, I think, is perfect to attract gamers.
It's like there's a joke. It's like I went outside once. The graphics weren't that good. When I first heard that, I thought that was really funny. It's the idea that gamers today are always looking for a clearer image, something closer to the
different ways to do it. Yeah, they don't just want some static image of a title.
No, they want a clear image. It's easy to read. It makes perfect sense, and it is absolutely crystal clear.
And I think kind of our last big point is obviously the way you're really going to get a film to attract your target audience is to make the storyline compelling to them. So I think the storyline of our film is perfectly, well, not relatable, because obviously no gamer can end up actually being trapped in their game world, unless something like Sword Art Online came out. but yeah, so I think our storyline is relatable and compelling to gamers. So you've got a guy who starts his day at school and he comes home, he wants to just play some games, but he ends up trapped in the game world. I'm sure lots of people will be really happy to be trapped in the game world, and it's also relatable to the fact that they come home and go and play their games on their computer.
I mean, it's an idea that lots of people think, that would be really cool. No one's actually really done a film with it.
No, I don't think they have. I mean, you've got films out like Pixel, which have the game world coming to the real world, but I don't think there's been a film where there's been, apart from our one obviously, that has a real world person come into the game world.
Well, there might be. I don't know. I mean, you've got Tron.
There could be,
which kind of counts.
But I don't think it's not quite the same thing, is it?
It's similar.
So actually, also that's another thing. Actually, being one of the first to do that sort of idea, people are going to want to watch that because it's a brand new concept. Yeah. So actually, having a compelling storyline that's new, people are going to want to watch that. So that's going to be another way to attract your target audience. So I feel like we did that very successfully.
I think there's a lot to credit for our film.
I think we did really well in actually getting. If it wasn't for all these things we come up with on our lists, we would never have actually done something as successful as this.
No, we would have probably just done. Well, he's gone through a couple of game modes, but there's no real detail in it. With the fact that we've sat down and we've said this, we've got this, we should have this. We've really developed it.
We could have just filmed a guy walking through a few streets, and that would have been really boring. But adding these animations, adding this storyline, these different shot types, they really kind of made you feel like you wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really proud of our final product. I'm really proud with the way it's turned out. What about you?
Oh, I'm over the moon with it. I mean, I wasn't really hopeful for it. I thought it was such an abstract idea that it was almost going to be too difficult to produce. But actually, as a group, what we've done, especially with the editing work, it has been brilliant. It actually looks phenomenal.
I'm like, as I said, I couldn't be more pleased with it. I think it's probably, I work on a lot of projects, and I think this is probably so far the best project I've ever worked on. And so yeah, thank you for having us here at Ancoder News. We have been Dan and Dan from DDF Media. Back to you in the studio.